There's champagne, and then there's Dom Pérignon. The difference? A single bottle can cost anywhere from 200 to 2,000 euros and take between 8 and 40 years to produce. One bottle of Dom Pérignon Rosé 2006 costs 450 euros. The Dom Pérignon P3 Plénitude 1982, aged for 40 years, can fetch up to 7,000 euros per bottle. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button now, because you're about to discover why some bubbles cost more than a used car, and why Dom Pérignon is the only champagne brand that never produces a non-vintage cuvée. Dom Pérignon isn't just champagne, it's the only LVMH brand devoted exclusively to prestige vintage wines. Every bottle bears a year: 2013, 2010, 2008. No blending across vintages. Either the harvest is exceptional or nothing is made at all. And exceptional means this: 12% of vintages are rejected outright. In difficult years, such as 2001, 2007, and 2012, 0 bottles were produced. The brand chose to lose 50 million euros rather than compromise its reputation. Today, you'll step into the underground cellars of Épernay, where 5 million bottles rest in 17 kilometers of tunnels, kept at a constant 12 degrees Celsius. You'll uncover the remuage technique, manually turning 100,000 bottles, a quarter turn each day for 6 weeks. And you'll understand why former chef de cave Richard Geoffroy dedicated 28 years, his entire career, to crafting just 30 vintages of Dom Pérignon. From 14 to 17 vineyards, each contributes distinct traits: minerality from Cremant, power from I. The story of Champagne begins in 1668, when a blind Benedictine monk named Pierre Pérignon became cellar master at the Abbey of Hauteville. His mission? To improve the wines of the Champagne region. Contrary to legend, Dom Pérignon didn't invent champagne. Bubbles already existed and were considered a flaw. What he did revolutionize was the art of assemblage, blending grapes from multiple vineyards to achieve complexity impossible from a single terroir. 3 centuries later, Dom Pérignon continues this obsessive tradition. Only 2 grapes are allowed: Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, always in equal 50-50 proportion, no exceptions. The grapes come exclusively from 17 Grand Cru vineyards, the most prestigious plots in Champagne: Hauteville, I, Bouzy, Cremant, Avis, Le Mesnil-sur-Oger. Names that sound like French poetry, but represent terroirs cultivated for centuries. Harvest is entirely manual. While ordinary champagnes use mechanical harvesters, Dom Pérignon employs 250 pickers who harvest cluster by cluster, discarding any imperfect grape. Why? Because premium champagne uses only the cuvée, the first press juice, the initial 2,050 liters from every 4 tons of grapes. The subsequent juice, called the tie, contains more tannins and color. Dom Pérignon discards it completely. Grapes are pressed in traditional vertical basket presses, a 300-year-old technology still used today because no modern machine extracts juice as gently without crushing the skins. Pressing lasts 4 hours. Grapes arrive whole, not pre-crushed. Gentle pressure releases only pure, crystal-clear juice, nearly colorless, even from black-skinned Pinot Noir. This juice ferments in stainless steel tanks for 2 to 3 weeks at 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. No oak barrels. Dom Pérignon seeks fruit purity, not woody flavors. After fermentation, each batch, and there are hundreds from different vineyards, is tasted separately. The chef de cave and his team evaluate 800 individual samples to decide which will compose the final assemblage. This is where the magic happens. Assemblage isn't random mixing, it's liquid architecture, structuring layers of flavor meant to evolve over decades in the bottle. A typical Dom Pérignon blends grapes from Eye, elegance from Avis, structure from Bouzy. Then comes the critical decision. Does this year deserve to become Dom Pérignon? In 12% of vintages, the answer is no. The base wine is either sold to other Moet Hennessy brands or discarded entirely.
If the vintage is approved, the second fermentation begins, the process that creates the bubbles. The base wine is bottled with liqueur de tillage, sugar and yeast. The bottle is sealed with a crown cap, yes, like a soda bottle, and remains sealed for years. Yeast consumes the sugar, producing alcohol and CO2. With no escape, the CO2 dissolves into the wine, forming those signature fine bubbles. Here's the secret. While standard champagnes age just 15 months on the lees, Dom Pérignon ages a minimum of 8 years before release, each bottle lying horizontally in the cellars. The Épernay cellars are underground cathedrals, 17 kilometers of tunnels carved into porous Cretaceous chalk, maintaining a perfect 12 degrees Celsius and 95% humidity year-round. Inside, 5 million bottles lie stacked in darkness, no light, no vibration, just silence and time doing its work. Over these years, dead yeast cells, called lees, release compounds that build complexity, notes of brioche, toasted bread, almonds, and honey. The longer the wine rests sur lie, the deeper its character. After at least 8 years, the remuage begins, gradually turning bottles until they stand upright, neck down, collecting yeast sediment in the neck. Traditionally, remuage is done by hand. A skilled remueur turns 30,000 bottles per day, picking each one, rotating it an eighth turn, tilting it slightly, and returning it to a wooden pupitre, riddling rack. It takes 6 to 8 weeks. Each bottle is handled 25 times. For Dom Pérignon's 6 million bottles, this would be impossible manually. So they use gyro pallets, metal cages holding 500 bottles, rotating them automatically. But crucially, the timing remains identical. There are no shortcuts. With sediment collected in the neck, it's time for dégorgement, removing the deposit. The bottleneck is dipped into a brine solution at minus 25 degrees Celsius. The sediment freezes into an ice plug. When the crown cap is removed, the internal pressure, 6 atmospheres, equal to a bus tire, ejects the plug in a dramatic burst. Dégorgement is pure theater, a loud pop, a plume of white mist, and precisely 5 milliliters of wine lost with the plug. That 5 milliliters is replaced with liqueur de dosage, wine from the same vintage, blended with a tiny amount of sugar. This is the final secret to Dom Pérignon's personality. Standard champagnes use 10 to 15 grams of sugar per liter. Dom Pérignon, just 5 to 6 grams, technically extra brut, nearly bone dry, because Dom Pérignon doesn't need sugar to mask flaws. Next comes the cork, real cork, not plastic, harvested from 40-year-old Portuguese cork oaks, cut from a single piece. Each cork is individually tested for 0 leakage. It's secured with a wire cage, the muselet, requiring exactly 6 turns. Fewer and it may loosen, more and it damages the cork. Finally, after 8+ years, the label is applied. By hand, one by one. The vintage year is embossed in gold lettering. Every bottle undergoes visual inspection. Bubbles in the glass, label alignment, imperfections, it's rejected. But the Dom Pérignon released at 8 years is only the beginning. The philosophy of plenitude defines the brand. Plenitude is the moment the champagne reaches peak expression. P1, 8 to 10 years. P2, 16 to 20 years. P3, 30 to 40 years. DomPérignon holds back bottles of every vintage for decades, releasing P2 and P3 only when they hit perfect maturity. The P3 1982, released in 2022 at age 40, sells for €7,000.
Dom Pérignon isn't a drink, it's a ritual. And no ritual is more dramatic than Sabrage, opening champagne with a sword. Sabrage dates to the Napoleonic Wars. Cavalry officers galloping victoriously would open bottles by sliding their sabers along the seam, cleanly decapitating the neck. It works because champagne bottles have a vertical seam, a weak line from where the glass was fused. Sliding a blade along it and striking the base of the cork causes a clean break, no shattering. Dom Pérignon elevates Sabrage to art. Brand ambassadors travel the world teaching the technique. The ideal blade? An 80-centimeter French cavalry saber, weighing 1.5 kilograms. But Dom Pérignon's culture goes beyond swords. It's the official champagne of Casino Royale. James Bond orders Dom Pérignon 52. It's the drink of rappers. Jay-Z name-drops Dom in over 50 songs. It's chosen for historic celebrations. Neil Armstrong toasted with Dom Pérignon 1961 after returning from the moon. The fall of the Berlin Wall was celebrated with Dom Pérignon 1982. The bottle's iconic design, embossed coat of arms, distinctive concave base, is no accident. It's a visual identity forged over decades. Then there are the large formats. Magnum, 1.5 liters, equals 2 standard bottles. Jeroboam, 3 liters, equals 4 bottles. Methuselah, 6 liters, equals 8 bottles. Nebuchadnezzar, 15 liters, equals 20 bottles. An empty Nebuchadnezzar costs €15,000. Filled, €35,000. It weighs 50 kilograms and requires 2 people to serve. Why large bottles? Aging. Larger volumes age more slowly and develop greater complexity. A 40-year-old Jeroboam surpasses a standard bottle of the same vintage. Here are the numbers behind this empire of bubbles. Annual production, 6 million bottles. Seems high? Moet and Chandon, its sibling brand, produces 35 million. DomPérignon is deliberate exclusivity. Those 6 million bottles generate $1.2 billion in revenue, averaging €200 per bottle, 20 times the price of standard champagne. Production requires 1,800 hectares of Grand Cru vineyards, valued at €2 million per hectare. DomPérignon's terroir alone is worth $3.6 billion. Current chef de cave Vincent Chaperon succeeded Richard Jeffrey in 2019. Jeffrey worked 28 years, created 30 vintages. Chaperon will likely craft only 20 to 25 in his entire career. Becoming a DomPérignon chef de cave takes 15 years of training. This isn't a job, it's a monastic vocation. They taste 3,000 wines per year. They memorize the fingerprint of hundreds of vineyards. The Épernay cellars were dug by Romans 2,000 years ago to mine chalk. Today, they're a UNESCO World Heritage Site, visited by millions annually. The global premium champagne market is worth €30 billion. DomPérignon captures 4%, a massive share for an ultra-premium brand. Top markets are the USA, 35%, Japan, 20%, Europe, 25%, and China growing explosively, 15% year-on-year. During the 2020 lockdown, sales fell 40%. Events canceled, restaurants closed.
But 2022 set a historic record, 6.3 million bottles, surpassing pre-pandemic peaks.
And so ends our effervescent journey, from the hills of Champagne to the cellars of Épernay, from vine to glass. Dom Pérignon is an obsession with perfection. Let's recap. 8+ years aging versus 15 months standard. 12% of vintages rejected completely. 50/50 Chardonnay Pinot Noir always. 17 Grand Cru vineyards. 200 to 7,000 euros per bottle. 6 atmospheres of pressure, bus tire level. 17 kilometers of cellars, 12 degrees Celsius. 5 million bottles resting at once. 250 hand pickers. Dom Pérignon proves luxury isn't just price, it's time, patience, and the refusal to compromise. It's choosing to lose $50 million rather than release a mediocre vintage. It's knowing some things cannot be rushed. You can't make a 40-year-old champagne in 10. There are no shortcuts to greatness. And in the end, when you hold that glass, fine bubbles rising in perfect chains, aromas of brioche and white flowers, flavors unfolding over minutes on the palate, you understand, this isn't about bubbles, it's about liquid art. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like now, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming documentaries on the world's most extraordinary luxury manufacturers. Drop a comment. Have you ever tasted Dom Pérignon? What would be your dream vintage? And check out our other videos on fine wine and premium spirits production. Until next time, and remember, champagne is the only drink that makes you more beautiful after you've had it. Santé!